You know, I often get asked in relation to the three books that I've written called the Rupture Trilogy. How did I come upon this information that I've written? Because they say it's almost like it's otherworldly, and that's exactly what it is. Um, I went through an event connected to a UFO craft here in central Bangkok, and that event, that contact, wasn't initiated by me, obviously. This craft sat above this condominium at about 60,000 feet. Now, I woke up at about 6 o'clock in the morning in meltdown. I've talked about this before a little bit. And my partner at the time, she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I don't know." And I was in such grief and sobbing, uncontrollable. I've never had that in my entire life. When my parents passed away or friends passed, nothing like that. And it went on for about 30 minutes. And then when it stopped, I was intuitively drawn to go up. This is like 6:30 in the morning by this time, 20 minutes to 7. Go up to the pool terrace on the 8th floor. I thought, why am I going up here? The sun's not even up properly yet. So I went up. And I sat back in a recliner chair. And you naturally sort of look to the sky, you know. And then I seen this two high altitude planes almost heading towards each other. Well, they were, but almost like that close to collide, going at commercial aircraft speed, but these were military aircraft. They were crisscrossing across the sky. They were up about, I would say, a good 40,000 feet. So I thought, what are they doing? And then as I continued to look, I could see this rounded section underneath above where these craft were crisscrossing. No, I reckon they were probably, it's hard to say, given the height and the distance. I'd say they were probably 5,000 feet below, maybe closer. But anyway, I seen this rounded, matte, black, blue shape. And that was cloaked behind clouds, but the bottom part was exposed. So I thought, that's a UFO. So I continued to watch. The craft left. Sorry, the planes that were surveilling it left. They were on the surveillance mission. They knew there was some anomaly in the sky, but they couldn't, I think it was cloaked to them. I could see it. And the clouds cleared, and I seen the entire craft over central Bangkok. There was nothing aired on TV. There was nothing spoken about it. And yet here it was, sitting there above this condominium. And it was about, I worked out by the closing speeds of these two planes, 3 to 4 kilometres across. I found out later what I was actually seeing was only 3% of that craft's actual size. 3%. So that means it was closer to 100 kilometres big in width and height. So I watched this thing, just sat there. I came back down after about maybe half an hour or more. And then I started to think, what's the chances of a craft like that sitting directly above this condominium? I see it, and I've just been through this tectonic meltdown. Is there a connection? Yes, there was a connection. And I had seen, I'm not sure it was the same craft, I cannot say, but I was living up in Chiang Mai, northern part of Thailand, and it was quite often I'd get up early in the morning, and walk out onto the balcony and look towards the mountains, and to the right hand side of the bottom descending part, which came into a hill, there was this craft sitting there. I'd say it was about no more than 500 feet off the ground, maybe 1,000 feet. And it was sort of cloaked behind a building, sometimes a little bit of cloud, but it just sat there. And in my visual, that must have happened 6 or 7 times. I didn't give it any real, I just thought it's some sort of surveillance craft, not from this world. But what it was actually doing was watching me. Because I was doing practices that was taking me out of three-dimensional mass and beyond 0 point and into the void, the mind of God. And I was sitting in that void sometimes for an hour or more. Nothing there. You're just nothingness, except the mind. So this craft and the entities that are connected to this craft, they didn't like that. Because I was escaping in consciousness from the net. There is a capture net that's over this planet. It looks ultraviolet blue, somewhat white. And when I was in America, I was initiated into the Gnostic teachings of ancient knowledge through Ramtha's School of Enlightenment, and the student body there. We would be up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and we would sit and face the west so that the sun was coming up behind us in the east. And we would look up at about a 45 to 60 degree angle and just focus on that part of the sky, getting your mind still and just picking a spot in the sky and looking at it. And sometimes you would get flashes of this grid. Not just me seeing it, many have seen it. And it is a reality. It's to capture souls when they pass away and have them reincarnate back again. That's what it's all about. It's for soul capturing. But it won't capture a soul if that soul has cultivated a higher state of consciousness, which I have, and which you can do too, and which other people have done. So I get asked in these excerpts that I post here and other places from the books, I'm not ready to release the books. They're still in manuscript. They're finished, apart from a little bit of editing here and there, but I'm not sure the world's ready for it yet. Because it's going to throw, and it also puts me, what's been written in there, especially book 2 and book 3, some of book 1, are transmissions from the other side. And especially in book 2, what I've exposed will without doubt put me in danger. Without a doubt. So I'm not that concerned about that side of it, because this information has to get out there to humanity. The third book was called Escaping the Annihilation, The Rescue Legacy, and this is what it is. This is what Creator wanted me to pass on to humanity. So I was charged, basically, through these transmissions, to be the cartographer. Some of it has been conceptualized by me, because I had to ask questions, and then I get the answers, given the information that came through. So this is otherworldly information. Humanity has been set up, and it started in 2016. That's when humanity crossed the Rubicon, and they, when I say they, the entities connected to this craft, that, by the way, sent a pulse down into this side of my brain. This is called the parietal precuneus. It's on both sides, but on the right side, it's a place that we don't use as human beings much, unless it's developed, or unless it's opened. Mine was opened by the craft. And this precuneus area of the brain is non-local awareness. In other words, when they pulsed here, they ruptured my neurology. And then 0 point roared in, and I could see everything that was hidden from me in consciousness, right back to my origin and our origin of 0 point. I could see it all. I could see the books that I hadn't written. I could see the simulation and how it works, how attached humanity is, because of what's been systematically implemented by this chimera species which controls humanity, and it has a presence between the third and the fourth dimension. There's a corridor there. This is where that craft came from. And it was there in an instant, over the top of this condominium. And somehow, I don't know how, before this incarnation, I had seeded this interaction to do exactly what it did. It tried to contain me, but instead it opened up a part of my neurology which has given me access to higher vantage consciousness. So the information you'll see posted here on Facebook, and I have to set up a Telegram channel yet to do this and be more proactive in doing that. But I just wanted to explain how this all happened and where this information comes from. Because I cannot claim the intelligence that's in there. It's far beyond me. Well, it was until I accessed it. I hope that helps a bit. When you see these excerpts that I post from the different books, just know that these were transmissions, mostly from the other side. Hope that helps.